If you are watching HBO's Westworld, you are 1, having a great time like us, and 2, probably full of theories. Let's talk about them. So this recent episode, episode 7, had a big bombshell,
Yes,
which was
it did.
following I think almost everyone's theory.
Yes, absolutely.
A very popular theory.
Yes.
And I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it. There will be spoilers for Westworld in this entire video.
Yes.
If you're not cool with that, you know what to do. Go watch Westworld. So in this episode, we reveal that Bernard is actually a host, which is something that many people had thought for a long time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, when he said, "What door?"
Oh,
and a meltdown.
man.
Oh my God. Because I didn't realize before. I mean, you can look at this with 2020 now.
Yep.
Hosts can't see things that would be detrimental to them.
Exactly, which Ford specifically explains. I mean, I think that was something that everyone kind of saw coming in a way, that, you know, his memories were just a little too, like, perfectly tragic, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I wonder if Gina Torres, aka his wife, is a host too, or an actress. I'm guessing host, though.
Yeah, I'm guessing she's a host as well. I would not mind seeing Gina Torres show up somewhere
if it was
in this
Gina
world.
Torres as Gina Torres. Like, they just hired her to pretend to be his
Right,
wife.
right, totally. Yeah, but then of course that leads into to a big theory that people have as well regarding Bernard, that he is sort of the host replacement in a way for Arnold. That
I
he's
think
like,
that's almost nearly confirmed.
I would totally agree with you.
And there's a few reasons why, but which we will get to.
Of course.
But I think, like, there's no way he's not Arnold. I mean, when you look at that picture with, like, 2 guys and then a blank spot, it's like, well, who's in the last spot? Why couldn't Bernard see it? Because it's him.
Yep.
Because it's him.
Yep.
But there's an idea that this show is, and this follows along with it, in 2 different timelines.
Yes.
One present, one past. And the idea that these 2 are connected, this is not one I'm completely on board with yet, but I understand it, which is that William is the tie between. So in the past timeline, William is still just getting acquainted with the park. This is when he's, still, like, learning who he is. And you'll notice that a marker of this period is the way it looks.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily the way Westworld looks. It's the way that its trappings look, like the logo and the stairs where he enters Westworld for the first time. Can we take a look?
Yeah.
So this is the present timeline in which we're getting this is the scrapped storyline, that Ford dumped right away.
Yes.
And you'll notice that logo in the background.
Yep.
Let's move over to another clip. This is when William arrives.
Yep.
This logo is different. It has kind of a retro future feel to it.
Yeah, it does. And also, too, when you see the scenes of William, like, choosing his outfit and things like that, this is also the logo that's in the background.
Perfect.
So it just kind of further adds to the idea that this was a previous version. It's certainly, I understand it's not 100% confirmed, but it's almost certainly not happening concurrently with the stuff with the new logo, which we see, of course, as the logo for the show as well.
I think we're being led to believe at some point the Man in Black and Lawrence are going to run into William and Dolores on this quest for the maze. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think we're just being projected that way.
Yes, I think we're being projected that way too, because the sort of most prevalent theory, of course, with the multiple timeline theory, is that William is at the beginning of his journey, where we're seeing him right now. He's with Dolores. They're going on the quest for the maze.
He's opening up.
Yep.
He's learning who he truly is, which is a sentiment echoed by the Man in Black.
Yes, it is. He's also starting to sort of morally decompose a little bit.
He's taking off the white hat and putting on the gray one, and he's going to get the black one.
He shot a lot of people in the back now. He was unfaithful to his fiancée.
My guess is that something happens with Logan. Whereas William and his wife, or wife-to-be somehow, sees power of the company.
Right.
And then he steers it this way, and in return, he's allowed to do whatever he wants in the park for as long as he wants. That is my guess. There's also another supporting evidence for the idea of 2 timelines, and that does also tie into the Bernarnold theory. So I want to take a look at a photo from a recent episode. So this is, we saw a couple episodes. Wait, which one is this?
This was...
this is young Ford Bot.
Yes, which was, I think, not the last episode, but the episode before that.
Okay. So that's him talking to his childhood self.
Yes.
It looks very similar to the next one. This is where we see what we think is Bernard talking to Dolores. So the idea is this is not actually Bernard talking to Dolores. This is Arnold talking to Dolores in the past.
Yes.
And this also seems to be the room used later where Teresa meets her end.
Yes.
That hidden outpost somewhere, which I would assume is Bernard's little workplace area, and then it was just off the map, and it has been maintained there ever since by Ford. I don't really understand exactly where the Bernard android is at this point, because we have this idea about Ford being very opposed to the AIs being conscious.
Correct.
And then we have Bernard/Arnold being very into the idea of that they should be granted this.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure if maybe Bernard or Arnold preemptively started working on this, or if
that's
Ford
what
put the kibosh on it.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
was
that's what I think, because I think that Arnold, from what we understand, is that he was supposed to have killed himself before Westworld actually opened. And so I think, though, that he, almost as a way to prove that the hosts were so capable of having sort of free will and free thought, made Bernard in his image.
And then I wonder, did he have that self-consciousness? Did Ford put a clamp down on it, and maybe he'll react in the upcoming weeks after he's, had to kill Teresa?
Yeah.
How often does his memory get wiped? It's a lot to think about.
Well, I mean, Teresa is clearly coming back as a host.
Oh no, she's a host for sure. That thing being made, printed behind
Definitely
her was going to be her replacement. And I don't know how many times Ford has done this. I have an idea that Elsie might be the only real flesh and blood human at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it was sort of brought up by Maeve, not in the last episode, but in the episode before it, when, the technicians are working on her, and she wakes up, and she's like, oh, Felix, you and I need to talk. And he says, oh, well, we're different. I'm human. And she says, how do you know?
Right? Because you could be one of the hosts that's been registered to be read as human, which they've introduced as a thing that exists, like it's nothing, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, but it does. It makes you just wonder, are any of these people real?
I don't know. And then you get to the philosophical, what is real?
Right,
what
exactly.
Is
Yeah, totally.
That's the ever-present question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but just, circling back to the multiple timeline theory, I think the thing for me that really set it off, aside from the logos and things, which I noticed sort of retroactively, but it was when there was that jump cut basically of Lawrence getting his throat split and the man in black draining out all of his blood to do a blood transfusion for Teddy.
Which saved him, which makes me think they're extremely human.
Yeah, they're extremely human. And then literally the next scene, he's back as El Lazo.
Lifting his hat, and you're like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, exactly. But then now I want to go back and rewatch everything and be like, okay, so in the scene where Dolores then ends up running off into the woods, who was her dad in the previous scene? Because she's had multiple hosts serving as her father at this point. So
I'm wondering, okay, so Maeve kind of was woken up by Dolores with that. These violent delights have violent ends.
Yes.
That's not exactly how the quote goes, but you know what I'm talking about. And it seems like Maeve may have woken up Hector. Hector was with the CEO. I know for sure Ford was using him as a listening device with the blood sacrifice line. But I'm wondering, is Hector gonna freak out too? I don't know where it started, and it seems like Clementine was starting to have the dreams. She was starting to get to Maeve's level before she was lobotomized.
Yeah. Poor Clementine.
Yeah, I know. I'll miss her too. There's so much going on with this show.
There is. I just love it. It's so fascinating, and again, it's so nice to see the sci-fi Western in the world of hard science fiction.
It's a great aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And it brought back Westerns, everyone,
Yeah.
if you're into that kind of thing. So we are still watching this season.
Yes.
We might not get season 2 until 2018.
I know, I saw that. I'm
That's
very
extremely
disappointed.
disappointing, but
Yes.
I would get it considering how hard it was for them to make
Yeah.
even this season and how long it took.
Yeah.
But you're damn right it got renewed. It's a great show.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently they have enough material for 5 seasons. Because in my head, I can see it wrapping up after 1. Mm-hmm. But please make it this good for 5.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can achieve that, then you have my monies.
Yep.
And my eyes.
Yes.
Audience, what do you think so far about the theories swirling around Westworld? Who is what? Up is down? Let us know below in the comments. And please forgive me for that. And also subscribe and like for more.